Basketball fans, welcome back. So in this video, I'll be talking about Petro de Luanda versus Ville Dakar. So this game happened and the final score was 76-67. So Petro de Luanda won this game. And this added on to the underwhelming performances that we've seen from Ville de Dakar. So before even we started and getting into this video, like the time that the Sarah conference tipped off, prior to it, we had those signings that Ville de Dakar made. They went and did some aggressive moves. They signed Aterma Jock, Abdullah Haruna, Will Perry. They also signed Devin Eke. So on paper, they are the best team. But when it came to the Sarah conference games, when they started off very strong. But the first chinks in their armor were exposed when they matched up against Kriol Star. So when they played against Kriol Star, they lost in their first matchup, they lost in their second one, and in this one they lost to the Petro de Luanda team. And even as we concluded, they had the worst record of 2-4, and they lost to the US Monastir team. And this was sad, and it was something that I never saw coming. And in this one, you've seen that they lost to Petro de Luanda. So this happened in game day 5 of the Sahara Conference. So in the previous video, I've talked about the matchup against US Monastir and Kriol Star that happened in game day 5. And in this one, you could see in the final game of the day, they lost this game. And it was a close one, only decided by 9 points, another clutch game. So, I mean, it is very surprising to see how this team just fell off the cliff completely, because when I was watching them and they were making those signings, they looked like they were going in for an all-in run because they signed in BAL veterans. But unfortunately, this team just couldn't get it together and get the job done. Shooting-wise, this was the worst performance from both teams because both teams shot 37% from the field. And the worst one was Petro de Luanda because in 75 field goal attempts, they only sunk in 28. So they attempted more field goals. And man, this was crazy. And if you look at the Ville de Dakar team, you could see out of 58 field goal attempts, only 22 went in. So you could see Petro de Luanda, they were really, really chucking up shots. And it was bad because you could see even when it came down to even the 2-point field goals, there were 50 attempts made and only 19 went in. That's 38%. Then when you look at the Ville de Dakar, you could see 37 attempts and only 16 went in. So it was crazy. So this was a 43% field goals, 2-point field goal shooting. So this was crazy. And shooting wise from the three, both teams just shot poorly. 28% from AS Ville de Dakar and 36% for Petro de Luanda. You can think this 36% is a lot. When you look at the amount of attempts from downtown Petro de Luanda had, they were just chucking up shots. They were 9 of 25 and AS Ville de Dakar 6 of 21. So both teams were just struggling. But the team that managed to be sent to the line more was AS Ville de Dakar. Even despite that, they still lost, even with them being sent to the line. And this is something that was quite puzzling because when you look at even the field goal attempts from Petro de Luanda didn't even go to the line too much, and they were still able to win this game. And that was something that was interesting. And I was really shocked, even in the outcome of this game, because I was expecting at least the home team to get a win from Petro. Because even when this competition started, you could see Petro was hovering at the third spot, second spot at some point, but third spot there in the first set of games, and there was a high likelihood that they were going to drop it. And even if they didn't, if they wouldn't even manage to, if they didn't make it, I would say Petro already won the BAL championship last season, so I wouldn't have too much pressure. But even despite Petro's roster revamp and the new guys they've brought in this season, they were still a formidable force, and they still managed to beat the AS Ville de Dakar that looked like a powerhouse. And you can look at even the rebounds. Petro de Luanda dominated, 45 rebounds, 24 assists from Ville de Dakar, 11 steals from Petro de Luanda, and 3 blocks from Ville de Dakar. So this matchup, I must say, was kind of ugly because it wasn't the most. It wasn't the not the most high scoring game like that. If you look at the flow of the game, I know the scores might tell you like this, they were able to go ahead and have high volume scoring, but scoring was not coming easy for each team because of the defense that was being set. And Rigoberto Mendoza from Petro de Luanda was the guy. He led the team. He had a team high 14 points. Solo Diabate. I've been monitoring Solo Diabate to see what he does. And in every single time you see Solo Diabate play, he's always part of that team that makes the BAL playoffs. And this one, he had 13 points. And Yannick Moreira, he added on with 13 boards in this game, and he was tied with Samba Dalifol from Ville Dakar. So yeah, Yannick Moreira has been awesome. Then Solo Diabate had 6 boards, Barandaya had 6 boards, Chile Dandao 4 assists, and Will Perry, he had 18 points, Samba Dalifol had 17, and Ater Majok had 16 for Ville Dakar. So I was paying so much attention to Ville Dakar's performance, and I felt like they had what it took to even take apart Petro de Luanda on paper because of the star power that they had. If you look at a guy like Ater Majok, he won the championship in 2022. If you look at Will Perry and Devin Eke, they were those guys that made Rivers Hoopers what it is, and they finished number 3 in BAL Season 4. And Abdullahi Haruna, he has been there. He's one of the most phenomenal players there. So they had like something good going on, and I was expecting this Ville Dakar team to do some damage, but unfortunately this didn't happen because Abdullahi Haruna, I mean, in 11 minutes played, I mean, I don't know why I said 11 games, but in 11 minutes played, the man had 2 points. He put up a stinker in this game. And those 2 points came from the free throw line. So you'd expect that this guy will at least give you some productivity. But he straight out choked in this one. Will Perry, I can say, he came out and showed out. But those 5 turnovers were the worst thing that ever happened. Then Ater Majok, he had 16 points and on 5 of 8 shooting. And if you look at the minutes that these players played, you could see Will Perry, he was not the most efficient because he played 38 whole minutes. The man didn't even rest a single minute, and the plus was -4. And if you look at even Ater Majok, the man played 32, heading on to 33 minutes, and still the productivity was not the best at all. And it was just an ugly game. And the star power that you'd expect there was nothing. Even Devin Eke, he only played 3 minutes in this one, 2 points, 0 for 3, field goal shooting, pathetic performance all through. These are the players that you might think that on paper they look like they're the best players, but when it comes down to it, they can't even produce anything for you, and you will end up suffering. And this is the main reason as to why some teams just opt out and don't even sign these high profile players, because some of these performances are just straight up pathetic. And you would have expected like a lot of performance and a lot of productivity coming from somebody like Abdullahi Haruna, who had a very bad game. I mean, I can even say the Nairobi City Thunder dodged a bullet when Ater Majok and Abdullahi Haruna left. I mean, imagine this. These 2 guys, Ater Majok and Abdullahi Haruna, helped the Nairobi City Thunder to make it to BAL. Then they went and dipped, and they went and joined Ville de Dakar in Senegal, and they still couldn't make the playoffs, even adding Devin Eke and Will Perry from the Rivers Hoopers, but they still couldn't make it. Man, the Nairobi City Thunder dodged a bullet, and you're going to see them in action next week. So I'm also going to be taking note of that. But give credit to the Petro de Luanda team. Even without Nicolas Forst, Carlos Moraes, they were still good. And they still, and Lukeni. This roster is still good because we had 4 players scoring 10 points or more. And it was an overall team effort. It was not the most exciting game, but you could see there was a bit, urgency. There was a bit of more urgency, and it ended up to be on being who wanted it more. And the club Petro de Luanda, they just did their thing. So this one, Petro de Luanda started out very well. I really like the hot start from Petro de Luanda. I really like Petro de Luanda's starts during games because, when they have a good start, the game, they're able to, grab hold of it easily, and they don't have to overexert themselves in the second halves, because sometimes when you have a bad start, you're seeing a situation where they struggle, especially trying to get back in the game, and that's not the case in this one. So I'm very excited. Petro de Luanda had a game, scoring high of 25 points first quarter, and I was very excited about that. Then in the second quarter, they added on 22 points. Even when they finished off the game, they didn't have too much pressure in finishing it. So, yeah, overall, good performance. And this is one of those performances you look back at and you just wonder, like, what stock do these superstars at the Ville Dakar, what stock do they have? These two superstars the Ville Dakar team signed. What stock do they have? Because their stock was very high in the open market, but when it came down to like getting the job done and doing the actual work, them guys just flopped so hard, especially that 2-point performance from Abdullahi Haruna. I mean, that was crazy, man. Because even when I was monitoring their rotations, he's not coming into the games too much. He was not coming into the game too much. Flow of the game was just difficult. And if you look at even the Petro de Luanda side, they led in steals, points from turnovers, fast break points, second chance points, and bench points. So, and also total rebounds. That's something that, you need so that you can be able to outmuscle the team. And you could even see like the Ville Dakar team looked like they had a lot of size in there, but unfortunately, even in the rebounds battle, they just couldn't make it and couldn't even do anything. Even with the poor scoring from inside, when it came to the Petro de Luanda team, they were still able to win it. And Ville Dakar just, had a disappointing performance in front of 9,250 people. So, it is what it is. It's a very, very bad performance all around. And even as per recording of this video, Petro de Luanda, they clinched. They finished top in this group. At some point, you could see Ville Dakar were leading, and when they led in the first, they had a very hot start. When they started, they had a 2-1 record when they started, but if you look at the final games that they played, that 3-game stretch, they lost every single game. The only games they're able to win is in game day 1 when they play against USM, and game day 3 when they play against Petro de Luanda. But the good thing is Petro de Luanda already figured them out when they had that matchup, and that matchup was decided by 1 point. And the reason as to why even AS Ville Dakar did not even have a shot at even qualifying was the games that they were playing that are very close. And even when it came to the point differential, they're just going to get knocked out easily. And they lost 3 straight in the second half of games, which was very disappointing. And I must say, this was the worst performance I've seen from a Senegalese team. Even as Douanes had a better performance than what we saw from this AS Ville. This AS Ville Dakar was the worst. I mean, AS Douanes would have done better. If AS Douanes made it, they will have, done some serious damage. But hey, it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section what you think about this game. I mean, this was an embarrassing one. I must say, when I was watching this game live, at some point I was just cringing because I was expecting at least I was expecting Ville Dakar to try to redeem themselves, especially with that loss that they had, because I looked at this team as a team that can be able to dominate the Sahara Conference. Even prior to the Sahara Conference, I felt like this team has what it takes. Like, I've been monitoring their signings, and, they just, dropped the ball on this one. And Petro de Luanda just banked on their championship experience. And Patrick Ghana, he has shown to be a very, very important piece. Yannick Moreira, Chile Dandao, Gaston Domingos, Rigoberto Mendoza. Those guys are just certified ballers, and they are the reason as to why the Petro de Luanda is where it is. And if you look at even a guy like Aterma Jok, Abdullahi Haruna, Will Perry, these are guys that you can't rely on down the stretch. And there's a reason as to why Aterma Jok has never been able to make it back to the finals since 2022. And after he left USM in 2022, he has never been the same guy, because every single time he just gets knocked off the playoffs. When he joined Petro de Luanda in 2023, got knocked out in the semifinals. 2024, went back to USM, things didn't go well. He came to a short stint with the Thunder, went to AS Ville de Dakar. Now he's not going even to make it to the playoffs. And man, he's just going to wait and watch the playoffs, similar to what I'm doing. But it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section down below on what you think about this. The AS Ville de Dakar need to buy some tickets to Cancun, because that's where they are, together with Stade Malien. But at least Ville de Dakar had 2 wins and 4 losses, as opposed to Stade Malien, who went 0-6. And this was sad, man. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.